Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people. Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good morning, it's the Workers Beat. I'm Gene Lantz, and this is my beautiful companion,
Bonnie Mathias. Good morning.
Here's a bunch of stuff going on. Today, the AFL-CIO Dallas Block Walk starts at the Letter Carriers Hall
right
at
now.
NALC 132 at 8451 Endicott Lane, Dallas 75227. They're going to meet the same place next Saturday at 9 o'clock. And they want you down there. They desperately want you down there. Dallas phone banking, Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. In the mornings at the Alliance AFT, the Teachers Hall, 334 Center. And in the evenings from 1408 North Washington. Call Pam Resendis to get you lined up to be a volunteer with the AFL-CIO. 214-826-4808. Now, in Tarrant County, some phone banking is going on by the United Auto Workers. They're meeting from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at United Auto Workers 276 Hall, 2505 W.E. Robertson in Grand Prairie. And Monday, Thursday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., they're meeting at United Auto Workers Local 218, which is 98 West Hurst in Hurst. Here's the number to call if you want to help the United Auto Workers with their phone banking. Call Dennis Anderson at 972-816-6514. They need volunteers today for Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson is having her second annual fish fry today at 12:30 at Skyline Ranch, 1801 East Wheatland in Dallas, 75241. Also today at 2 o'clock, the Dreamers from North Texas will lead a Know Your Rights informational workshop for the Dallas community, and this is especially for the immigrant community. 1408 North Washington Avenue, Dallas, Texas, 75204. You can also call Pam Resendis about that, and her number is 214-826-4808. October the 13th is so-called Columbus Day, but I'm proud of Fort Worth. They changed the name of it. I think they call it Dia de la Raza.
That's great.
Because why should we be honoring Columbus? He came over here and enslaved us. So they're trying to make this a day to honor indigenous people.
I saw
that makes more sense.
Yes, it does. There was a posting on Facebook that said, do Columbus Day sales mean I can go into any store I want to and take anything I want and just leave without paying for it? I said, well, there you go.
And enslave whoever's there.
There you go.
On Wednesday, October the 15th, from 3 to 5 p.m., the Strategic Campaigns Table will be at 1408 North Washington Avenue. That's Job of Justice Rosemary Rieger chairs that meeting. And what they're doing is bringing community groups together to make a plan for Dallas. On the 16th at 7:30 p.m., the Dallas AFL-CIO Council holds its regularly scheduled meeting at the CWA Hall, Bonnie's Union Hall, 1408 North Washington. All members of affiliated unions welcome. Now, that's not open to the public. It's only open to members of affiliated unions. You can get campaign signs at these union halls. United Auto Workers 848, 2218 East Main in Grand Prairie. The Plumbers Hall, 3529 West Miller Road in Garland. The Letter Carriers at 8451 Endicott Lane in Dallas, 75272. And Alliance AFT, the Teachers Hall at 334 Center in Dallas, 75208. And you were going to tell us, Bonnie, about a meeting Ernie McMillan is doing today?
Yes, Ernie McMillan and I believe Rick Callahan will be there, and Javier Elguin, who's the executive director of Eastfield College on Buckner in Pleasant Grove. Mm-hmm. We are going to be working together to target kids in Pleasant Grove to keep this, shut down the pipeline to prison. through our public schools.
It's give kids with the first offense another chance.
Yeah,
right?
Give these kids a chance to make amends and get on the right path. That's we've talked about this. Ernest has been working on this, I know, longer than I have, and I started in 2009. I really encourage folks in Pleasant Grove to get out and get involved with this. And they're going to meet at 1:00 at Pleasant Grove Library on Lake June.
So this is to stop kids from just taking the track that seems to be laid out, especially for poor kids. They have a first offense and then another offense and another offense, and they end up being lifetime criminals and lifetime prisoners.
Right. And Pleasant Grove Library is 7310 Lake June Road.
Okay. And that's at what time?
1:00.
Okay. 972-647-1893 if you have a comment or a question you want to bring in to Bonnie and me. The Texas voter suppression law was struck down. Whoopee!
Yay!
Now, that doesn't mean it's all over, because Attorney General Greg Abbott immediately announced that he's going to appeal to a higher level. They want to keep the voter suppression law, and the reasons are obvious, because there's a poll was done that showed that states that toughened their voter identification laws saw steeper drops in election turnout than those that did not, with disproportionate fall-offs among black and younger voters. In other words, voter suppression works.
Yep.
When they make it harder for people to vote, then fewer people vote. Yep. And that's exactly what they wanted.
And I'll tell you, the Republican, what is he? I guess I don't know if he's the state chair or Dallas County or whatever. He popped off, there was an article in the paper this past week about the differences of how Republicans and Democrats go after to register voters.
Mm-hmm. Is he the one that said, we don't want black people to vote?
Pretty much, yeah. He said, we're not going to register people in poor areas because we don't want them to vote for Democrat.
Frankly,
so,
you can tell where the money is on this.
Exactly.
The big donations are going to one party, and the tiny donations are going to the other party. And if people can't look at that and figure out what to do, then I don't know what to think about them. The big money has been. We already know the big money is buying this election. Yeah. But what we might not have known is just how bad it is. Because, Forbes magazine keeps track of the wealthiest people in America, and they put out, just last week, they put out their information. It said that the 400 wealthiest people have got $2.29 trillion, which is $270 billion more than last year, and a 13% increase. Man. I get this from Senator Bernie Sanders. He says, quote, "These billionaires now own more wealth than the bottom half of America, over 150 million people. Meanwhile, while the very rich become richer, most Americans have become poorer. Median family income has declined by almost $5,000 since 1999, and over half the American people have less than $10,000 in savings." So, since they've got all this money,
yeah.
Let me give the phone number first. 972-647-1893 if you want to call. Since they got all this money, you would think that charitable giving would go up.
But it hasn't.
Because they've got more than ever. They got a 13% increase in 1 year.
Yeah.
So they got a $270 billion raise. This is 400 people we're talking about now.
Right.
We're not talking about...
We're not talking about us.
We're not talking about the people that live in a big place like Dallas. We're talking about maybe the people who live on, say, 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Residential blocks, 400 people. They got $270 billion. So did they give more charitable? Well, the Chronicle of Philanthropy, which is the people that keep track of who gives what, said in a report released on Monday that Americans who earn $200,000 or more reduced the share of their income they gave to charity by 4.6%. That's from 2006 to 2012. That's when they had figures.
Right.
Those earning less than $100,000 donated 4.5% more of their income.
Isn't that amazing?
So the poor people and working poor gave more money
to help the poorer people than them.
Yeah, and the disgustingly rich people
sat on it.
Gave a lot less. And I'm not just talking about in dollars. I'm talking about percentage-wise. In other words, they gave out less money, a lesser proportion of how much money they had. 972-647-1893. And now the good news. The good news is that the new Rolls-Royce is going to be targeting the Dallas market. So if you have
$100,000.
No.
Oh, no?
These are like $250,000.
Oh, so if you got a spare $250,000.
This is not the big Rolls-Royce. This is the medium. But they are targeting Dallas with it, and it's called the Ghost, G-H-O-S-T, and this was in the morning news.
Beautiful car.
They're targeting Dallas, and they've got a dealership on Lemon Street.
Does it have a bathroom and stuff in it? I was just wondering.
I don't know if it has a bathroom.
Well, you know, I mean, if
it has a 12-cylinder engine.
Okay, so that'll get you a ticket for speeding. But
I don't know if it's even fast. It doesn't get very good mileage.
I'm sure.
But you don't care.
$250,000.
If you can spend $250,000 for a car, you don't care about gas, apparently.
I should be able to shower and sleep and cook, and I should be able to live in that car.
Yeah. 972-647-1893. Now and also this week, this has all got to do with money. Who's got it and who doesn't have it. There's an awful lot of the disgustingly rich people live right here in North Texas.
Yep.
And that's Neiman Marcus is here. Yep. Neiman Marcus is known all over the world, and they are putting out their new catalog, which I'll get to in a minute, but I want to see what Omar has to say. He just called. Good morning, Omar. Thanks for calling KNON.
Yeah, hi. I'm just kind of curious. It seems like you guys really dislike rich people, because not all wealthy people that I know are money grabbers. I mean, I know some very wealthy folks who give a lot of their time and their efforts as well as their money, too. Just because you're rich doesn't make you an evil villain who wants poor people to become poor. That's not at all accurate. You are generalizing everybody who's wealthy as an evil villain who doesn't want to help anybody.
No, that's not true. We are vilifying.
That's what you're saying.
We are vilifying the top 400 in the country.
Well, maybe he knows some of the top 400.
And if you know them, we're vilifying them.
But do you know them personally? Do you know what they
that they're
even the vice president, even the president of the United States gives less than 10% of his own income, and he's rich. He may not be in the top 400, but he's still vastly, and I never said that he was, but he's still rich. The
point that we're making is that they are giving less of their money to charity, even though they're getting much more than any time before. You see,
giving to charity
we're not talking about what kind of people they are. We're talking about who's got the money.
No, charity is not optional. I'm sorry, charity is not optional. It is not.
Oh, it is, yeah. I think it's
No, I don't. I think if you're a decent human being, you should be doing something charitable.
No, go ahead and finish your point. Finish your point, brother.
You should give, and I'm a Christian, and I give more than 10% of my gross income, and I volunteer my time because I want to, not because I have to. That's a big difference. It's like, do you want people, so you are the top 400, would you rather them lose all their money, just give it away?
Yes, I would.
Yes, I would. Do you want them as broke as...
I'd like them to give it a shot.
On the street?
They wouldn't give it a shot.
If they were on the street?
Give it a shot.
Is that what you want? You want to vilify them and put them on the streets, live in cardboard boxes? Is that what you want?
They don't mind it. They don't mind everybody else living there. So what the hell?
Do you want to pick and choose who's rich and who's not based on what you think is right and what is wrong? That's not right. No,
I'm sorry. I am a Christian, and I base my life on what God says.
Exactly. But there's many people out there who are Christian also who are extremely wealthy and who have private jets. Do you vilify them as well?
Let me ask you this, Omar. Do you think that rich people, you're saying that they're as good as anybody else, I guess, right? Or would you say they're better?
I don't think they're better. They're the same as everybody else.
They are the same. Okay.
Sure.
That's a good point. Go ahead if you got any more points and make those points. The rich people are just like everybody else. Well,
I just think if you're a Christian, it is wrong because you just said that you were. You're judging them. That's not right.
I'm not judging anybody.
I am.
I just know what my God says. My God says a rich man ain't getting into heaven It's like trying to.
No.
Camel
You
through
are
the needle.
misinterpreting
Camel through the
that
needle.
quote.
No, I'm
There
not.
are many rich Christians who are going to heaven who are just as generous as people who are poor.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks
Because
for
you're
calling.
rich doesn't. Okay.
Thank you, Elmore. Thank you so much.
Okay. He makes a good point.
Yeah, he
says that there are some very nice rich people.
I'm sure, and there are.
Okay.
I know
maybe
some
we
of
were,
them
Maybe we were
personally.
carried away.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, Miguel's on line 3. Let's see what Miguel has to say. Thanks for calling, Miguel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that guy just got carried away. I mean, really, the guy's talking about rich people that he knows. I don't think he knows some of the world's richest people. And I clearly understand your debate about that because if they're making a whole lot more, it seems like you would want to give more, to show people that wealthy people are nice or caring about their population or their workers or their self-being, that they're actually more charitable wealthy people than snobby rich people that don't care about the population.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to say. I think that guy just got carried away. I really don't understand. But I think he just wanted to argue this morning with somebody.
Yeah, but thanks very much,
you.
Miguel.
Thank you,
and let me
Miguel.
make the point. The point is not who is nice and who's not. The point is that the wealthiest 400 people got a 13% increase last year, $270 billion more, and that they did not increase their charitable giving. In fact, their charitable giving went down, while poor people or working people, those earning less than $100,000, donated 4.5% more of their income. Now, this I got this from the Alliance for Retired Americans, but they quoted the Chronicle of Philanthropy. And we were going to go on to talk about the Neiman Marcus gifts. Oh, we got another call, though. Rosalind's online. Good morning, Rosalind. Thanks for calling.
Good morning to you.
Glad to hear from you.
Wow. I believe the last caller we had, and I'm just blessed to just be able to be up this morning to tune in with you all and to catch this topic, because the God that I serve, if he says, if you got more than one robe, one fine garment, or you got 7 of the same garments that are fine, then hey, give 3 of those garments. If you have more than one loaf of bread, then you got to give that loaf of bread. If you got more than 4 packs of meat in your freezer, oh my God, give 2 or 3.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't want to be rich.
Nope, me neither.
I don't want to be rich. And we do have to give to charity.
Yes, you do.
We do have to give back.
I wish
We
you
do have
were
to
rich.
reach out to the ones that are struggling.
That's right.
I'm rich in God. I'm rich in God's glory. I'm rich in God's grace and His mercy.
Amen,
I
sister.
wish you were rich, because then I know you'd be giving it away and it'd be helping the rest of us.
Hello?
Thank you, sweetie.
Guess
We got to
what?
take a
I
quick
give.
break. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen, sister. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Good morning.
That's when we come on.
Yeah, and Jack is on the line. Good morning, Jack. Thanks for calling KNON. Glad to hear from you. Line 3. Good morning, Jack.
Yeah, hi. Yeah,
we hear you.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say on this charity thing, I mean, come on, like, what is it? Bill Gates? I mean, Warren Buffett gives his money, doesn't he, to Bill Gates? And Gates is like, what, they put their money into charity, like Alec? Does Alec think? I mean, that's it, right?
That's right. Well, some of them do, yeah.
Alec is a charity. That's
Alec is a nonprofit.
Right, exactly. And then they target, Democrats and try to knock them out.
Right. That's exactly right.
And what's the other one? The other one is Bill Gates has his money in these for-profit prisons.
Oh,
Does
really?
he really?
Oh,
Really?
that's interesting.
Really. They did a protest in front of his place out there in Seattle.
Wow, I hadn't
he's-
heard that.
For-profit prisons.
Wow.
At any day of the week, we've got 80,000 people in solitary confinement.
Wow.
Decade after decade. Now, the thing about putting people in solitary is, well, it costs $75,000 a year versus $24,000.
Wow.
24,000 just to keep them out in the general population, huh?
Right. So you put them in there for a guy back talks to a guard.
Uh-huh.
Solitary.
Wow.
So anything to keep that full. And, you know, these guys have like these prisons, they have like a 90% occupancy rate. If you don't go to the 90, then you break the contract with the state. The state has to come up with these people. This is why I think they've got this dragnet all over Ferguson and every place in the country to put people into these, because Chicago, Illinois, they have all these for-profit prisons. Most of them are concentrated down here in the South.
That's right. That's
right. And we got a for-profit jail right there in Dallas.
And right here in Dallas.
And so,
where's that? Where's that?
Downtown.
Downtown.
One of those jails down there in the so-called justice system?
Isn't it the Decker Center?
I think it's, I don't know the spot, but I know it's somewhere down there.
Yeah.
And everybody gets thrown in there for, I mean, I meet kids up here on the street here. You know, college kids, they had dope or something, and they wound up there for a few days or whatever in a weekend. You know.
And now they got a record.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people with a record now, I mean, what is it, one in four maybe?
I believe
of
so.
People under 35 or something?
Yep. And how do you get a job? How do you get?
I know.
Get a car,
There you
get
go.
an apartment. You're stuck.
Yeah. Well, especially if you've got a computer doing your job.
So that's the prison to pipeline, school to prison pipeline.
That's right.
Well, you're right. Well, that's the pipeline to the to the bank for the banker.
Yep. And you know, when I found out that for-profit prison companies in the state of Texas look at our third graders, racial makeup, and test scores to decide how many prison beds they need to build.
Oh, yeah.
We have a problem.
Right, exactly, yeah. Well, that's the business model, right?
Exactly.
Wind it up, Jack. We got people waiting.
Well, that's it. I got you.
Thanks, Jack.
You're okay.
Appreciate
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, this all started because me and Bonnie got down on rich people. And somebody called and said the rich people weren't so bad, and that kind of set the phones ringing. And now we want to see what Stephen has to say on line 2. Good morning, Stephen. Thanks for calling, Knon.
How you doing this morning?
Glad to hear from you.
That's good. I just want to make this comment on the rich. You know, I'm not against the rich, and, you know, all that. But I just want to say that Jesus, when he confronted, and the rich man confronted him, Jesus told him to say, "Sell all that you have and give to the poor." But and follow me. But he didn't want to do that though. So that's where the rich stand. I would say it. But I don't believe every rich man is like that. I think a lot of rich people give.
Yeah, I do too.
I think some do.
Too. Yeah.
Okay, that was
thanks
my
so
comment.
much. And, of course, so we've been talking about Christians. Other religions also require charity.
Yep.
And the Mohammedans require charity, and that's how they all. That's how the. What was the name of the group that got busted here and got sent to jail?
Oh,
and, they were sending money to. They were the Holy Land Foundation.
The Holy Land Foundation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Randy's on line 4. Thanks for calling Knon, brother.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good,
Okay.
thanks.
You think rich people are nice, or you think they're doing us wrong?
Well, I'm sure there's a whole spectrum of all of them. I'll just put it that way. I know several very wealthy people that donate a lot of their time.
So some good ones and some bad ones.
Not sometimes through a monetary note that someone can read and put on a scale, but through their physical time of donating for nonprofits and stuff like that.
Okay.
So just like the lower income people do the same thing.
You always notice though.
Yeah.
If you ever drive around Highland Park, Randy, and did you ever see the panhandlers? You notice the panhandlers in Highland Park at the corners. No, you don't, do you? But in East Dallas,
I haven't been through Highland Park recently.
Well, I have.
I have
and
too.
There's not no panhandlers there. It don't pay for them to stand on the corners where rich people live.
Because they don't give anything.
And
well,
they probably get arrested anyway.
Yeah, they'd be arrested.
Exactly, Gene. That's where I was fixing to go. It's because their police department enforces the ordinance. We're here in Dallas. The only time they enforce that ordinance of not being able to panhandle, which I'm against it. I mean, to tell someone who has no potential outcome other than to stand on the street and seek charity, to tell them that they can't do that, I think that's wrong.
You can watch those panhandlers. Let me make this point, Randy, because I have actually done this. I've actually sat and watched the panhandlers and see what happens. See which cars stop and which ones don't. You see a Rolls Royce go by, and you're not going to stop. There's no chance that they're going to stop. But the people that do stop are driving these rattle traps. They got 4 or 5 kids hanging out the back, and they stop and give this panhandler $1. It's
Well,
pretty amazing. You can see
matter
this.
of fact, I've seen people that drive the nice Chevy trucks and stuff like that, that Denali's and stuff, stop in front of me before and give it that. But that's not my debate. My question was, we all the time complaining about the issue that we have at hand with these privatized prison system. Mm-hmm. How did the privatized prison system even become allowed to exist?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How did that happen?
That's a good question. Anybody know? Maybe somebody will call and has some answer on it.
I think we voted that in, didn't we, Gene?
I don't know.
Didn't we vote in the past to give up the public's responsibility to fund the prison system? Isn't that how it was turned over to? Because usually that's how our public workers are privatized. Is because we vote and say, yeah, we want it privatized. So hopefully somebody will call in and let us know how we as the public gave up the responsibility of detaining prisoners.
Okay, no.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks so much, Randy. Now, I wanted to get to this because we are talking about rich people, and I was saying that the problem is more chronic here in Dallas than people realize. Not only do we have our own Rolls-Royce dealer here, but we got the big Italian sports car dealers here too, and we have Neiman Marcus. Now, Neiman Marcus gifts. You can get a cocktail machine from Neiman Marcus in their catalog, and it's $35,000. Now, they don't advertise this because nobody buys it. Somebody is going to buy this. A cocktail machine that costs $35,000. You can get jet skis with wheels on them so you can actually turn it into a dune buggy, and that's $50,000. You can get linens, bed, bath, and table linens. This is your towels and your sheets at Neiman Marcus for $55,000. You can get a sculpture in your yard it's made out of hedges, I think, and it's $65,000. You can get a Maserati Q4 automobile, whatever that is, for $95,000 in the Neiman Marcus catalog. And you can get a slot car racetrack. You know what slot cars are? Those little bitty things. They call them matchbox cars.
Yeah.
For $300,000. Now, if you make the minimum wage, as 13% of all Texas workers do, if you make the minimum wage, to get that slot car racetrack, you would have to work 19 years figuring out what is $7.25 an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
And you divide that into the $300,000 and you figure out how many hours.
17 years to
No, 19.
19 years.
19 years is what it would cost. I'm saying that the rich people in the Dallas area really throw it in our faces.
Yeah.
We are hit with this more than people are in other cities.
Yeah,
now,
very much so.
The big argument we're having here is whether or not rich people are nice.
Well, and
that's not the point.
No, that's not
the point. The point is that they are not doing charitable giving, and they are not they're not helping the economy by getting that money going. They're actually sitting on it, and that this is a very bad thing.
Well, and I found out how the for-profit prison thing all got started.
Oh, you did find out?
Yeah, I did.
How did it start?
The war on drugs.
Oh, the war on drugs.
That started in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Well, that's when they decided.
They just had so many prisoners.
They didn't know what to do, so they started expanding the criminal justice system. Private business interests saw an opportunity.
But did we vote on it?
I don't
think we voted on it. Because I don't ever miss an election. Mm-mm. And I would have been really upset if I'd have had a chance to vote on that. I know I'd have been against it. Privatization is the process of turning some kind of public economic activity into a private and profit-producing activity. That's what's going on with the public schools in Dallas right now. They are trying to change that activity into something that will produce a profit for some corporation or some very, very wealthy person. And I'm against it.
Yep.
Yeah, and am I against rich people? Yeah, I'm against them not because they're not nice, but because they're rich.
They don't share. They don't share.
Well, it's hurting the economy.
It's killing the economy.
And there's a saying that I think is very relevant. How did they get that money? How do they get that money? Mostly by paying low wages.
Yeah.
That's how you accumulate money. In other words, you pay people less than they're making for you. That's the whole point.
There you go.
Of our system.
That's right. So
is
you
to
make
hire
more.
people to produce more wealth than they get.
Yeah.
And,
I want
you get the excess.
That's the people say, okay, work harder for me so I can get richer. Big business says, so we can give the stockholders more money.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Most big corporations, they give their employees stocks.
They give them less than they produce, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Because that's how you accumulate money in this system. The saying goes, and this is an old saying, I don't know who actually said it first, but not all rich people are thieves. Some of them are the sons and daughters of thieves. So think about that, Walmart family.
Right on.
And let's see who's calling. Joshua's calling on line 3. Joshua, you want to weigh in on this rich people thing? Are they nice or not nice?
Well, I think Randy was right. I've met folks who were a wide range of folks, right? Regardless of how much money they got, how nice they are to an individual. But I think what you're pointing out, Gene, is it's a bigger problem than the individual, right? There's a kind of a structural issue, a broader economic issue.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that Randy's question about how the prisons were privatized like that, I think that's something that's, anytime there's something that's public, right, that we do collectively or as a group communally, there's somebody trying to figure out a way to make money off it.
That's right.
And I'm celebrating joining my new union, part of CWA.
You're in the CWA now.
All right.
It's the Texas State Employees Union.
That's right. That's right. Welcome, brother.
Thank you very much. I was looking at the materials they gave me and what they've done in the last couple of years, and a lot of what they're listing is they're defending public services, public institutions, things like...
They don't want stuff to be privatized.
That's right.
Right. Well, for example, health and human services, people who do the screening for support services. There was a state program. A bunch of people got laid off, I think, Accenture or something.
They tried to privatize that, and it didn't work.
Didn't work.
Well, yeah, they gave some big company, I think, almost an $800 million contract.
Yeah.
And then 3 or 4 years later, they go back to the state taking over because it was a disaster.
Exactly.
Right, because it didn't work.
And that was
But
one
I bet
of...
that company kept the money.
Accenture was one of Rick Perry and Greg Abbott's Texas Enterprise Fund ventures.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what I guess I found is... just looking at this material, it's really important. Unions do important work, especially the public employees unions, in protecting those kinds of services that I think we should be doing collectively.
Oh, good deal.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Morning.
Thank you.
All right. I want to get this announcement in, even though George is waiting. We're going to put George on in just a minute. Saturday, October the 18th, from 11 o'clock to 2 p.m., a FedEx is going to hire. They're hiring many positions, such as permanent positions, starting at $9.96 an hour, almost as much as the proposal for minimum wage. It's going to be at 3901 Adler Drive, Suite 100, Dallas, Texas 75211. But you have to call. You have to you have to sign up somehow or another. And here's the number, 972-656-52101. That's a job with FedEx. I'll tell you, they're going to work you mighty hard. George is on line 4. Let's see what George has got to say. Thanks for calling.
Real quick, before you put George on, I wanted to tell you that he told me over the phone really quickly that he believes this is the best show on KNON.
Wow!
The best show on KNON. Let's put him on here real quick.
Thank you, George. Thanks for calling KNON.
George, where'd you go? Come back, George.
He's supposed to be on line 4.
He is on line. I have him sitting on line.
Oh.
Now we lost him?
I think we must have lost him.
Come back, George.
Call back, George.
That number you gave out had too many digits in it.
Uh-oh. Okay.
It had 5 digits at the end instead of 4.
Which one?
Yeah, you said.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
All right. George not available? Have him call back. George, call back because I want to hear somebody say something good about us because that's
I know, right?
Bonnie, we don't get very much of that.
Don't get a lot.
Now, I was Ranger Rita just told me that I gave the number out wrong a while ago for FedEx. This is if you want a job at FedEx and they got this hire, they're going to do this big job fair next Saturday, October the 18th. And the number for FedEx is 656-5210. That's 5210. I added an extra number in there for some reason a while ago. I think it was in their email. And the national push for a $10.10 federal minimum wage. There is an activity on the 10th of October. Raising wages will be a driving force at the polls in the approaching midterm elections. So National Day for minimum wage push is the October the 10th. What's the day?
Today, October the 11th.
This is October. Oh, I'm sorry.
That was yesterday.
So it was yesterday.
Sorry.
Okay. The number of Texans registered to vote in the state's 5 largest counties increased by 2% since 2012, a reversal of the decline in total voter registration that was seen before the last midterm elections. So maybe there's some good news coming.
I hope so.
In this election.
I hope so.
Everything I've read sounds bad.
You know, Wendy Davis is creeping up in the polls every day.
Well, that must be why her opponent has turned really very negative.
Oh, he's saying nasty
really
stuff and lies. Y'all, there is no FBI investigation into anything Wendy Davis or her law firm were ever involved in.
But if you got enough money, you can say that.
You can say whatever you want
1,000 times.
That's right. In fact, he's got billboards in between here and Austin on Interstate 35.
Well, I know he's saying it on TV.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
We'll see you in just a minute. The question is, are rich people nice or what? or is Bonnie and Jean going too far overboard when we talk about what I call the disgustingly rich? Did you say George was on the line?
Yay!
Put him on. Good morning, George. Thanks for calling KNON. And he's not. He's gone again. He's on a cell phone.
George, are you leaving us? Don't leave us, George.
He's
Come back.
But Mark's also on line 3 on this one. Good morning, Mark. Thanks for calling KNON.
Hey there. Proud member of APWU for 27 years here.
Yay!
And, I just wanted to mention these ads of Mr. Abbott in his wheelchair playing to the, I'm disabled, I've overcome so much, blah, blah, blah. My beloved wife, when we went through cancer, she lost her leg. And I've learned, we learned together about how Abbott and the boys is, bending over backwards to keep any kind of support for disabled or handicapped or anybody, by way of Medicaid. He's, he's campaigning in his wheelchair like, yeah, vote for me. I'm out for you disabled folks. And the reality is he's bending over backwards to make sure that there's to keep defunding Medicaid as much as possible. That's and right. I really hope that John Q. Public realizes what a lie this is, particularly disabled. I know a lot of her people in her disabled group, support group, knows what baloney this is, but it just astounds me that he can get away with advertising himself as such when the emperor has a whole different color set of clothes. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that even though Greg Abbott's in a wheelchair, that he doesn't really represent handicapped people?
Absolutely not. He's part of the Rick Perry, the whole Republican bunch that's doing their best to keep defunding Medicaid in this state, which is a lifeline. Most disabled people are not super wealthy like him. Most disabled people just barely try to scratch by.
Right.
Do you know how much money he got in his settlement for his accident?
I have no idea.
Do you know, Bonnie?
I think by the time it all ends up, it'll be about $10.7 million. He actually receives $500,000 tax-free every year.
But if a tree limb falls on you today and you sue, can you get $10 million?
No, you will get $250,000 whether you live or die, and that's the cap.
Because
of the legislation that Greg Abbott was responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I like I say, unfortunately, my wife passed almost 2 years ago,
sorry.
We were very much paying attention to that kind of stuff, and I just pray that the rest of our voting folks here in Texas realize what a bunch of garbage he's putting out.
I hope so. I hope people listen.
I'll shut up now and let somebody else vent for a while.
Thank you so much for calling. We do appreciate you.
Y'all keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, George. 972-647-1893 is the number, and KNON loves it when you call. the more you call, and the less me and Bonnie talk. I think it's a conspiracy.
It could be. It could be. I don't know.
Okay.
Nah. Not a conspiracy. This has been a very lively show. I do want to make an announcement. Today, Miss Arquilla Smith, she was a long-time benefactor of the station. She was, I believe she's on the board emeritus. Miss Smith passed away this last week. Her funeral is today at 2:00 at Evergreen on University School Road. I hope that that's the old Houston School Road. If anybody knows, don't look for Houston School Road. Look for the University Boulevard, because otherwise you'll be lost, like I was one time, because they didn't tell us the name change. But I hope if anybody from the Acorn days, from the early Top days, if you remember Miss Arquilla, she was a heck of a woman. She was 96 years old. She is the woman who was instrumental in putting up the tent city in 1983 when the Republican National Convention was held in Dallas, Texas.
So she's got a history in this community, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Great woman.
We're going to miss her.
I'm going to miss her.
It causes other people to have to step up.
If I remember correctly, Dave was saying yesterday that she was on the board until she was 93 years old.
That's right.
She stayed on the board.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She was on the board until she was 93.
Here's another statistic about working people. The typical American family makes less than the typical family did 15 years ago, a statement that has not been true since the Great Depression. And I got that from Ed Sills, the communicator for the Texas AFL-CIO.
Yes.
I want to plug Ed Sills. If you're not getting Ed Sills' free news online, and if you are online, you should write to him. It's ed@texasaflco.org. There's not any hyphens or anything in there. It's all one word, ed@texasaflco.org. And you get this free news service.
Yeah, he's
that
great.
Is really valuable.
Yep.
He reads, I guess he must read every newspaper in the United States, and he picks up information that is good for working people to know. And so it's not all good news, but it's good for you to know what's going on. And that's my main source of information, Ed Sills. Now, the phone is rung again. I must have said something.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. Josh is on line 4. Good morning, Josh. Thanks for calling KNON.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys?
Glad to hear from you.
There was a lively conversation going on about private prisons.
Yes.
And I wanted to remind folks about the Dallas County Commissioner's Court.
Yeah.
They have a contract pending before them with a private company by the name of Securus that stands to make Securus a lot of money. And the contract has to do with phones. The other part to it is the county stands to make a $3 million kickback from this contract, and that kickback, unfortunately, comes from some of the hardest economically hit communities in Dallas County, particularly the families of those who are incarcerated at Lusteris.
Wow.
I don't believe that passed. I believe that they struck it down. They said that they would not allow that.
I know. We've been working on that. I work with Texas Security.
Oh, good.
The video visitation was struck down.
Right.
Unfortunately, if we hadn't have caught it, our commissioner's court would have passed that 4-1. The Judge Clay Jenkins, the only one would have been to abstain. But now the fight has changed to saying, hey, we don't want money taken out of our community. Why don't we leave that $3 million in the community? And right now, as it stands, that vote is probably, again, 4-1. Judge Jenkins is the only one looking to defend particularly the poorest folks in our community.
I see. And but either way, they still end up with privatized prisons. Is that the way it works?
Well, it's a private phone contract. I mean, you've still got a terrible company.
I see.
You still have a terrible company to play. It's all part of the privatization of jails. I myself actually grew up in a private prison as a youth, and I can speak to the fact that private prisons will often not give you health care or not do a lot of things for you because of the corporation. The bottom line is profit.
Yeah.
And all types of, treating a person like a human, unfortunately, gets in the way of profit margin.
Yeah, you got it nailed right there, brother.
Yep.
Thanks so much for calling.
Thanks
and
so
let's
much.
see what Bernice has on line 1. Thank you for calling, Bernice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. I just want to ask y'all, could you please inform the listening audience on how these apprentice programs work, and also if y'all would be willing to have more, some type of informative town meetings so that people who want to be more engaged can get involved. And I also want to, and I mean on a more regular basis, like, on weekends, not just on Labor Day, what I'm saying, have more informal meetings where people can know what the issues are, what's happening in our community locally and at large that's affecting our policies and whatnot. And I also just want, this is just a side step, I don't know if y'all know Cledell Kemp, Miss Cledell Kemp.
Yes, ma'am.
100. Well, she was in a car accident.
What?
And she's in the hospital. Yes, ma'am. She's in the hospital at Parkland Hospital in room 223.
Okay.
And it was pretty bad. So I just asked y'all to keep her in prayer.
Sure will.
And we need people like her, more people like Miss Kemp out there, and we need to train more of us as a community to get more people out there to fight for us, and as well as stand together when we're going through a crisis like that. I just want to share that with you. Thank you
very much.
Thanks so much, Sister Bernice. And the number is 972-647-1893. I'm supposed to read this, and I just now remembered. Greg Smith's 22nd year at KNON anniversary 2-day celebration. Wow. Day 1 is this Saturday, October the 11th, at Poor David's Pub.
Tonight.
1313 South Lamar in Dallas with musical guests. Zach Harmon, Ernie Johnson, Larry Lampkin, Odell Gray, Tam Dazzle, Greg A. Smith, and the Blues Review Band, and more, hosted by KNON DJs. Free buffet by Elaine's Kitchen. Day 2 is this Sunday, October the 12th, with a black tie affair at RL's Blue Palace, 3100 Grand Avenue in Dallas, with musical guests. Lucky and Tamara Peterson, Carl Marshall, Ricky White, Alonzo Reed, James Butler, Cookie McGee, Cool Ricky Blues, Charlie Robinson, Little Jimmy, Miss Peaches, Joe Moore, Big Charles Young, Ariel Griffin, and the Blues Palace Show Band. Free buffet by Boss Hog Barbecue. Doors open at 6 p.m. each night. Show at 7. Tickets available at KNON. Organization, the Blues Palace, Lane's Kitchen, Bill's Records, Forever Young Records, and Comp Cleaners in Fort Worth. For VIP reservations, here comes the phone number. 469-471-4180. I'll say it again. 469-471-4180. And that's the celebration of Greg Smith's 22nd year at KNON.
Wow.
A 2-day celebration.
That's pretty awesome.
972-647-1893. Most of the discussion has been over whether or not we should be bad-mouthing rich people on this station. Now, maybe that's why we don't have enough money coming in. When we do the fund drive, we're not nice enough to rich people. We spend more time talking about how much we love the Walton family, the owners of Walmart, instead of talking about trying to help their employees get some decent wages and decent hours.
Yeah, because, changing Walmart will change America. And that's the truth. That's what their T-shirt says. The latest T-shirt says, changing Walmart, changing America.
But you're still pulling for the employees.
Yes, I am. I can't help it. I'm one of them underdog kind of girls.
Now, what we should consider, Bonnie, is we should consider pulling for the bosses.
I can't do that, Gene.
We would get more money that way.
But, Gene, I'm not wired like that. I can't do that.
You won't even consider it?
No.
Well, I think you're being dogmatic.
I probably am. I'm also being stubborn.
We talk sweet and nice.
They still ain't going to give us nothing, Gene.
About all the people that live in Highland Park and have those $1 million homes and everything, and they're paying their employees the lowest wages in the country. We have more minimum wage employees by percentage in Texas than any other state, according to Ed Sills. And he got it from the Dallas Morning News.
Exactly. And they got it from pure statistics, folks.
Yeah.
We can't make this stuff
From the
up.
Census Bureau.
I wish we could make this stuff up. I wish we had to make this stuff up.
And, and we talk about how bad it is to live on the minimum wage, and we don't even talk about the fact that Texas has so many people who are exempt from the minimum wage.
Yep.
I'm talking about those children that are out there in the fields picking turnips, and picking cotton and stuff like that in Texas. They don't even get the minimum wage, and they're not. The law does not cover them. The law also does not cover that woman that poured your coffee this morning at the restaurant.
That's right.
I think $2.10 an hour is what she gets.
That's right.
And then
her tips are supposed to make up the rest.
And if she
so
don't
that
get
she
the
makes
tips,
all of $7.25 an hour.
If she don't get the tips, and if the boss is keeping the books in an honest way, then she's going to get reimbursed.
Right.
Up
Supposed
to $7.25 an hour. $7.25 an hour.
But so many of these of smaller businesses, they just don't keep track like they should. And
well,
people
they keep track. They just don't tell us.
Well, there you go. And they don't tell the government either. So consequently, their employees are living way below the poverty line.
It's the worst of all, though, is those farm workers. I mean, that's why the farm workers had such a dramatic fight during the 60s and 70s to try to get to where they could get the minimum wage.
Right. Cesar Chavez.
And that was really good. I'm so proud. I'm old, I never mentioned this.
You're not
but,
really,
but I'm so proud to have been a part of that, and to have been a part of the things that have happened over the last 50 years that I've been able to get involved in and do something in. But I'm more proud of something that happened yesterday than I am of something that happened 25 years ago, for sure.
Yeah.
And the battles of today are even more important. So let's get out there and let's start doing something about it. I didn't tell you this, but I'm working on a new, it's either a book or a pamphlet. I'm working on something in which I say that you can never be content in this society, that there is no contentment, whether you're rich or poor. That there is no contentment in this society until you embrace your discontent, until you start to do something about it. You cannot be happy in this society, in my opinion. No, it's just a fact. You cannot be happy in this society if you're just living in it.
Yep. You have to do something. You have to get up and get involved.
If you're not against
do something.
Yeah, if you're not working to change and make things better,
you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
And you're not and you're going to feel that way.
Yeah.
You're going to feel frustrated and alienated. Alienation is the big problem. This idea that you don't care about other people. The one that drives, I was talking a while ago about people that drive right by the poor guy on the corner, and the other people that stop and give them a nickel or a dime. There's a qualitative difference in the way those people are living their lives, and how they feel, and whether or not there's any contentment in their lives. And so I'm going to write a whole book about that.
I think that's great.
And I'm going to start.
I'll read it. I will.
I'm going to put it on Facebook too, so I'll make it easy.
Awesome. Self-published.
The point is that you have to do something about things if you expect to feel good.
That's right.
I don't mean that you got to solve all the problems, because that's not very likely.
But you have to do something.
You have to be working at it.
Just do something. I mean, that's... and people say, well, I can't get out of the house. I'm housebound. Okay, can you use the phone?
Yeah. Right now they're begging for phone
bankers. We're begging
bankers.
for phone bankers every Tuesday, starting at 5 o'clock at the CWA Hall. CWA has phone banking. Yeah. So come on down.
I was so proud of my retirees at our meeting last Thursday, because several of them took a list home with them.
Good.
To call other retirees and say, have you voted yet, and how can I help?
Do you need a ride? Do you need to help filling out the paperwork to get your absentee ballot? Because if you're over 65, you can vote by mail.
Yeah, and it really makes a big difference. I've already voted. I voted about 2 weeks ago. Because I am over 65, and I got my ballot by mail, and I filled it out and sent it right in. And there are 9 propositions on there.
Wow.
So if you're voting, and of course it's different in different counties. But
gotta read.
Mine had 9 propositions, and it was a good thing that I had it because I had time to ask my wife how to do it.
Right.
If I'd have been sitting in a booth when I saw that, I wouldn't have been able to answer those questions.
So look it up, folks. Figure it out before you go to the polls.
We'll be back next time.
Thank you.
Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people. Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.